Hello, Bobby Torres of Frightbox Recording here, and welcome to Critiquing Subscriber Mixes, episode 26. So before we dive into this group of mixes submitted by my loyal subscribers, I just want to let you know that if you're looking to improve the sound of your mixes and productions, I don't care if you're using analog tape, expensive analog console, outboard gear, a DAW with stock plugins, overpriced, expensive plugins, it doesn't matter. What it all comes down to is how well you understand basic EQ and compression. And because of this, I'm offering you direct access to my crisp and clear heavy mix formula. The heavy mix formula is comprised of three primary components: a mixing cheat sheet that contains all of my EQ and compression starting points whenever I start a mix. Within the PDF guide, there are clickable links to private mixing tutorials where I break down all of the main components for all of the main instruments within a heavy production, and each private tutorial comes with a multi-track download so you can have access to the exact same raw multi-track that I'm using in the lesson. The heavy mix formula is absolutely free right now. You can have instant access by clicking the link below in this video's description. So without any further ado, let's jump into this mixes submitted by subscribers. And our first mix here comes from Mr. Schming's Spud, something like that. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. So let's check it out. Okay, well, Mr. Schming's I'm super impressed by the musicianship that I hear in this track. Killer, insanely good guitar playing, just great musicianship overall. And honestly, I really dig the production. Now, it doesn't sound overly polished. The vibe I get from this production is sort of like, I guess I could say an early 90s prog rock or prog metal kind of production where the drums are there, but they're not overly hyped. It sounds more on the raw side, but I kind of dig it, honestly. Everything can be heard nice and clear. Now, if you are looking for a more modern sound, I would suggest just compressing the drums a little harder and maybe blending in a kick and snare sample if there isn't one already. But overall, man, I like what you have, to be honest with you. And again, amazing guitar playing, great bass playing, just great stuff overall. I don't know if your project is all instrumental, but I would love to hear one of your tracks with some vocals on it, if you even have that. If you do, definitely send it to my email. I'd love to check it out. And again, thanks for your submission and keep up the great work. Okay, our next mix here comes from Adam, and it looks like we got a loud mix. So let's see how it sounds. Okay, so it looks like we have another track without vocals, but Adam, I like what I'm hearing. Really cool guitar tone, cool riffage. Things sound nice and tight. My main note here would be that I don't hear any bass guitar, so you might want to just take the mid-range of your bass guitar, the DI, filter out the lows and top, distort it and blend it in just so you could hear a little more of the note of the bass, and maybe actually just turn the bass up in general. The mix sounds a little thin because there's a lack of low end coming from the bass. But other than that, man, I love what I'm hearing. Great playing, great tune, great riffage. Just give those tweaks a shot in the track and let me know how that works out for you. Thanks for your submission. Okay, our final mix here comes from Alberto. Okay, well, Alberto, I like the vibe of your production. Two things stand out to me right off the bat. It sounds like your guitars are not hard panned. And if they are hard panned, maybe you're using some stereo widener that's doing something with phase that's actually making your guitars pan inwards or making your entire mix sort of smaller sounding. So check that out. Again, if you're not hard panning your guitars, please, for the love of God, hard pan your left and right guitars. People, especially home studio owners, seem to freak out about this, even though most pro producers hard pan their guitars. Definitely give that a shot. And your vocals sound extremely raw, meaning like there's no EQ applied to them and there's no dynamic processing happening. Now, I'm sure there is some EQ and I'm sure there is some compression happening, but try cutting out some lower mids on your vocals, maybe even boosting some top end since he sounds more like a yeller than a screamer. And do not be scared to compress your vocals pretty hard. I like to go for a few dB of gain reduction before the EQ with a compressor. Then I have my EQ. Then I have a more heavy-handed compressor with a higher ratio, knocking off, 10 to 15 dB of gain reduction. And then finally, I like to have a brick wall limiter at the end of the chain to catch any stray peaks to keep my vocalists nice and unmoving, at least within heavy productions where the vocals have to compete with the wall of guitars, drums, and everything else. So overall, great production, and give those tips a shot in your future work and let me know how that works for you. So I'd just like to shout out and thank everyone for submitting this excellent group of mixes. And if you're interested in submitting a mix, there are detailed instructions in this video's description. And again, if you're looking to improve the sound of your mixes and productions with the gear that you already have, you'd have direct access to my crisp and clear heavy mix formula. You get an EQ and compression mixing cheat sheet, private tutorials, and a multi-track download that accompanies each tutorial so you could practice mixing along with me. Again, the crisp and clear heavy mix formula is free right now, and you can have direct access by clicking the link below in this video's description. If you found this video helpful, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And do not forget to click the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload one of my weekly videos on all things metal and rock production. If you're interested in some Frightbox swag, I've got t-shirts, mugs, and a ton of other cool stuff on the way. There's a link below to the Frightbox merch store in this video's description. And until next time, happy mixing.